Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Sleep Detective podcast, where good sleep, health, and longevity are inevitable. All right, today I want to talk about feeling your feelings. I know this might sound a little woo woo out there, but it's so important because if we don't do then they can cause a lot of stress in our bodies and sabotage our sleep as well. So, experiencing emotions is part of being human, right? But we can have trouble feeling emotions, especially ones that society has told us are bad, like feeling sad or angry. And so then this can affect our sleep when we are pushing these away. And I know that I used to be resistant to this. And, we've kind of seen it modeled by our parents and grandparents and everyone around us. Like, if something tough happens and you're feeling upset, then go get a drink or do some drugs or go exercise. Like, that seems healthy, right? But not if it is actually avoiding feeling the feeling. So, in this episode, I'm going to talk about why you want to feel your feelings, how to do this in only 10 minutes with just four simple steps, and an amazing tool I've learned about called the 5-minute rule that helps us move past negative emotions quickly. So, you are in for a treat. Normally, I know I talk a lot about the physical parts of not being able to sleep and what functional lab testing can uncover, but the mental aspect is so important too. And that's why I really believe in a body and mind approach. And so this is part of it. So, why do you want to feel your feelings? So, when you actually try to ignore or suppress them, they don't go away. They get stuck in your body and cause these unhealthy patterns and cycles that can be hard to break. They can also bottle up and come out when you don't want them to. So, we've all know of this example of, let's say you don't tell your husband that you're mad that he didn't get you anything for Valentine's Day. And so you just ignore it. You don't say anything, but it's there, it's simmering under the surface. A few days later, you freak out because he didn't take out the trash. He thinks it's all about the trash. It's not. It's actually about not getting anything for you for Valentine's Day, and really this feeling of uncared for and like you don't have a connection and you don't matter to him. So that's what happens when we just try to ignore them and bottle them up is they come out, and then it makes us seem a little crazy that we're getting so angry about the trash when it's not about the trash. So ignoring your feelings really creates this constant stress in your body that is going to break it down over time. And then we know that stress over time, even mental stress, affects the body as well over time. So it may seem like your feelings will last forever. This is why we want to avoid them because it sucks to feel them, right? But if you actually take time to feel and process them, they go away pretty quickly. And again, it's uncomfortable to feel them, but it's going to help you to process them in the moment and move on so they don't keep affecting you months and years later. So, how do you feel your feelings? First of all, you want to identify the actual emotion that you're feeling. So you can look up, there's a feelings wheel online that you can find that lists, 100 different names for different feelings. And then you can also identify what triggered it. So I'll do this like all of a sudden, it seems like all of a sudden I'm feeling anxious, right? If I stop and think about, oh, it's because I just read that email and that, what that person said is making me feel anxious. Okay, well, that makes sense. And then you can remind yourself that these feelings are normal. So you want to validate any emotions that you're feeling. You welcome it. You want to sit with it. You're not judging it because judging it just adds an extra layer to like you're already feeling this bad feeling and then you're judging yourself for the feeling. And that just makes things even worse. So instead, if you just accept the feeling without trying to change it and without thinking of a way to fix it, and just remind yourself that it's safe to feel this. And so, one way you can do this is by using I statements like, I feel anxious. I feel angry. It's okay that I feel anxious. I am allowed to feel anxious. Another way to validate these emotions is to write the emotion that you're experiencing in the letter. So let's say you're feeling guilty. if this is something that keeps coming up for you for some reason, then it can really help to actually write these things down. So, what would you say to guilt? What would you say to resistance? How do these feelings even actually benefit you? And write all of those things down, especially for something that keeps coming up over and over again. And then you can sit with your feeling for 10 to 15 minutes. And I found it really helps. I walk my clients through this exercise sometimes. So you could walk through it yourself or have someone else walk you through it. But ask yourself, like, where is this feeling in my body? Where am I holding tension? What does it look like? What color is it? How does this even feel? And if you find yourself thinking, I don't want to feel this, or how do I even do this? Then just sit with that. That's how you're feeling. So go toward the thing that is blocking or frustrating you and acknowledge it and validate it and sit with it. So, I just brought up feeling anxious. I'm not really an anxious person normally, but sometimes I do feel anxiety. And so I had a coach walk me through this of, okay, where is that anxiety in your body? And it was always in my chest. And it felt like this black, hard rock in my chest. And so I sat with that for a little bit and then I asked it what it wanted to tell me. And this black rock was actually this anxiety was representing my inner child that was telling me that it's scared. Or you could call it your lower self. Like we could have a higher self and a lower self. And so this would come up in my business from time to time. Like I'm scared of failing, of not being able to pay the bills, of having to go back to waiting tables. Like I was waiting tables at the beginning of my business to make sure that I made enough money to support my family. And so knowing where this is coming from is so helpful because then I could tell that part of myself, I understand. I understand you're scared, but I'm going to keep us safe. And then the anxiety goes away. Now, if I did what I used to do, which was just feel the anxiety, keep working, keep going through it, 6 hours later, I'm finally going for a walk or doing some exercise, and then I finally feel better. Like it stayed with me so much longer. And I wasn't really addressing where that was coming from. As soon as I addressed where it was coming from, it totally went away. So again, it ends up being, even though you have to take a few minutes to do this, it ends up being way faster that you process this emotion and get past it. And then it can really help to express the emotion. So you can do things like journal, dance or move your body, listen to music, punch a pillow, cry if you're sad or angry, take a long shower or bath, go for a walk, create some art, talk with someone who you trust, stretch, write affirmations. There's so many things you can do. But again, like just taking that few minutes to do these things is really important. And for really strong emotions, it can actually help to do something physical to move your body to kind of get those stress hormones out. So they've actually found animals, especially they've seen rabbits. Say that a rabbit gets chased by a fox, for example, and they'll see the rabbit gets away and then it just shakes, like it shakes his whole body. And what it's actually doing is getting out that adrenaline and cortisol and those stress hormones that have built up. And I think we can do the same as humans but we tend to not, right? Like we tend to just block it. And so I think about this like say you're driving and you almost get into an accident, right? And you feel all those stress hormones coming into your body. And sometimes we just want to breathe deeply and let it go. But I've actually started just being like, okay, I'm just going to shake my body a little bit. And if I can, I'm going to go for a walk or do something physical and then do the deep breathing to calm down. But it can really help to get those stress hormones out to move your body. So remember that learning how to do this, learning how to feel your feelings takes practice. So be gentle with yourself. It's not comfortable, but these feelings aren't comfortable. And remember that the emotions are never permanent and there's actually no bad emotion. We're meant to feel these things, they guide us. When we're angry, it's telling us something. When we're sad, it's telling us something. All of these emotions are good or can be good. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the 5-minute rule that I learned about. So, I learned this from Hal Elrod in his book, The Miracle Morning. I talked about Hal Elrod before on the podcast when I talk about a morning routine, something that has been life changing. His 5-minute rule has also been life changing for me. So, how it goes is that when something happens that upsets you, let's say someone cancels an appointment last minute, or you're stuck in traffic, or it's going to rain on your wedding day, whatever it is, set a timer for 5 minutes. And during that time, allow yourself to feel all the emotions, all the frustration or anger or disappointment. You can stomp and yell and kick and curse and get it all out until the timer goes off. And then you move on. And Hal would always say, can't change it at the end of the time, right? If it's something that you can't change, then yeah, you can't change it. So you just get it all out in 5 minutes and then you're good. And when you first start doing this, it might take the whole 5 minutes to get everything out. But over time, it's going to get quicker and quicker until you may only need 5 seconds to get over some of these things. And if you find that the feeling keeps coming back, whatever it is, then you want to take the time to feel that feeling, as I just talked about before. But this is a really powerful tool for almost anything. I mean, I use it all the time where if something happens, especially in my business or even in my personal life, um, let's say, yeah, like someone says no to working with me, then instead of just trying to move past it and be like, it doesn't matter, but then it's still kind of lingering with me, I just take the time to feel that and be like, yeah, that sucks because I could have helped them, but they know what's best for them. And so after this time, then I'm just moving on. Moving on to the next person who wants my help. So I hope that this was really helpful for you. Um, as I said, in the Complete Sleep Solution program, I use functional lab testing to find the physical imbalances in your body that are sabotaging your sleep. But as you can see from this episode, we also help with the mental stress so that that doesn't keep you awake and affect your health over time. So our client Jamie wrote, I interviewed her a couple months ago. She wrote she was having some hard moments and really appreciated her coach speaking truth with love and reminded her of all the good results she was seeing and just helping her change her perspective, which really helped. And she also didn't feel alone. She felt like she could reach out and someone would always get back to her. And she felt like the videos and her coach giving her tools to get through hard days and tools on how to get through it, whether it's practical or mental tools, really helped. So, this is why a body and mind approach is so important to getting 7+ hours of uninterrupted sleep a night in 6 months or less. So, you don't have to see a therapist for the mental part and a health practitioner for the physical part. You can get both in the Complete Sleep Solution program from a coach who also understands what it's like not to be able to sleep. So, you can learn more about this at thesleepdetective.com. And if you're ready, you can schedule a consultation to get started so you can start working with your coach immediately to improve your sleep as quickly as possible. And the link for that is in the show notes. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for listening, and I will talk to you next week.